ABC last summer was really a terrific time with Robert Smith there for that final concert, and
Jimmy.
Yeah, and having Jim Walker there as a soloist and all of that. But I know that since we started way back in, I think it was '87 when we came up with this idea, and you may recall I sent you a note that said I thought maybe the name of this was the National Band College, and yours passed in the mail and came to me as the American Band College, and we right away figured out ABC's was a lot better.
Well, I think the thing that makes it so different than anything else, and I must admit, I look forward to it every summer. That's my chance to get out of the craziness of running around to come and be at my home.
Yeah.
With my family and my friends. And I think that's the reason a lot of people come there. Now, not only that, but the amount of information they get. We can give information forever. And the way you do it's probably better than I've ever seen it done. However, I think it's the mortar between the bricks that holds it together. The atmosphere that's there, the spirit that's created, and the one that really keeps jumping out at me every year louder is that people are cooperative with each other. They want each other to succeed.
Remember when they said, if you can't look at all, a score and hear every note, you'll never be a band director. Most of us grab that flute part and just hang on for dear life. Flute players, wherever you are, I always know which one of you made a mistake, because you lean into the music after you make it. Horn repair. Oh, here's some look down, some turn over there. Double rejoice. They made a sound at all. Saxophone players swear when they make mistakes. Boy, hear the next one come out of it. Can't go out. French horn players act like it was the composer's fault they didn't write it the way they played it. Trumpet players get mad, flip off the music. Full brass players don't know when they made a mistake. The other person, yo, it's him. What's your music say? We don't got no music. Other teachers go home when school's out. That's when we start. All right. We got double minus 0 hours on. We get 4 hours of marching band in the morning. Other teachers, when they have vacations, go away from their students. We gather ours around. We're going to Disney World. And then convince our spouse to go with us. This will be a romantic adventure. I'm going across the top of Amarillo, and there's a car coming the other direction, and all of a sudden I see him go down into the median. I'm like, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. And he pulls out the lights going, so I just pulled over, pull out my driver's license, which fortunately hadn't expired yet. And you're supposed to renew those things in case you're interested. So I go, he comes up, oh, how fast, Texas Ring, how fast you're going, boy. I hope about 86 or 87. He said, I clocked you at 88. Ooh, boy, getting a little bit here, right? So where are you going? I said, I'm going to Phoenix. This is what I'm doing. He looks over the seat, he goes, what's that? I said, that's a score for music. He goes, you know anything about music? I said, yeah. He said, do you know anything about bands? I said, a little bit. I didn't tell him I was a drummer. I could have ruined the whole thing. So I said, yeah. He said, my kid is in high school, and he said he's really playing trombone pretty well. And he said he wants a new trombone for Christmas. Do you think that'd be a good idea? I said, it's a great idea. You know, it's the best kid in the school, blah, 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 blah. So he said, well, all right, so give me your license. So he goes back, and those of us who've had speeding tickets before, you know, the longer they stay back there, the greater chance you're going to get popped, right? Because they've got the computer to see if you're a Taliban member or whatever. So, had he done that, I would have really been in trouble. So pretty soon he comes back, he's got the ticket book out, and I'm like, 88 to 55, this is going to cost me $300. He goes, what kind of trombone should I get it? And I said, here's my Selmer card, Bach 88H, is going to give him a great start and everything. He's ready. He goes, what time you got to be in Phoenix? I said, 9 o'clock in the morning. He said, you can't make it unless you're driving at least 85. I said, I know it. He said, I can't help you outside Texas. But he said, from here to the New Mexico line, there's only one other policeman. He said, he's my friend and I'll call ahead for him. I'm about 20 miles from the New Mexico line. I look, there's the cop. I'm going by, the lights go on, down he comes up, he pulls me over. And I'm like, well, he comes up and he goes, are you Tim Lautzenheiser? And I said, yes. He said, what kind of trombones is this? Get out of here! Me in Fresno right after he'd been here. And he was on fire. And he goes, let me tell you about ABC. And he talks for about an hour and a half before he said, have you been there? I have never seen a young man so plugged in my life. And you know what? He travels around the globe, and he can put that horn out and play with the big end in his mouth. He's that good. But what he caught from you was your spirit.
Would you clap your hands if you've been at the American Band College concert before on the 4th of July? Our veterans here. Now would you clap your hands if this is your first time with us? Is your first time? Now would you clap your hands if you hate clapping your hands for questions like that? Okay, that's fine. Behind me sit 200, just short of 250 incredible musicians who every day go into the schools and teach what we feel is one of the most important academic subjects that we have in our schools. It's called music. birthday today. United States of America. Let's give him a big hand just for making it. How many of you went to the parade today? How many were at the parade today? I have the parade results, by the way, on who won the parade. In the tractor trailer division bands, the American College band won it. 19 years in a row, by the way. There's no other trailer bands in the... I don't know if any of you watched CNN News today, but the young man set the record for hot dog eating, 66 in 12 minutes. 66. And the group behind me set a record today. They played on the mall 27 times consecutively in less than 4 miles. So that's it. You're all well aware that the people sitting behind me are literally the finest teachers we have in our schools today. And that's why we're America. We really wanted to open up with Strike Up the Band, that George Gershwin favorite. You know that song, Strike Up the Band? We really wanted to do it, but there was not enough time. It calls for, in the score, it calls for an audience of choral clappers. Now that means that there needed to be 300 or 400 people clapping in the background, and we could never find it. So, but then when I heard you clapping for this thing, I thought maybe we could just do this on the spot. You want to do it? You want to try it? Okay. Now here's the way it works. There's a place, it's just about 2/3 through it, there's a place where I'll turn around, and that's when you have to start clapping, and you clap there to the end, and then it says, thunderous applause for the great job the band did. All right? These people couldn't play instruments a week ago, so let's see how
and that's my wife and I and Tim Lautzenheiser. And Tim's been here for this magic moment every year in some fashion or another. It's always my great pleasure to have Tim Lautzenheiser join us on this day. Tim?
I called Andrea between rehearsal and so forth, and I said, well, you know, we're coming to the end of this thing, and I said, Max has asked me to say a couple words. I'm a little concerned about this, and she said, why? And I said, well, I had so much fun with the people at the interim session, and that went so well, I just, you know, maybe this won't go as well, and they won't like me. And she said, well, Tim, there's a lot of people that don't like you, so a few more are going to make a whole lot of difference in the shape of the world. And then I immediately reacted, of course, and said, well, you know, I wonder if you'd like me. You couldn't have your house and your car. She said, let me tell you something, and then I'm going to hang up. She said, if you were a total failure, I would still love you. She said, I'd miss you, but I would still love you. There's a great story about a retired band director, and he takes his, I mean, he's just tired of dealing with kids and administration and all the stuff that goes on with it. He said, I'm just out. I'm taking early retirement. I'm getting out. And he takes his money, and he goes out and buys a new sports car. Midlife crisis, he's got this new sports car, and he's feeling pretty good. Driving up the side of the mountain, got the top down, air's coming in his face. He's just enjoying the freedom of not being restricted and having to follow some schedule. And as he starts to go around this very precarious turn in the mountain, this lady comes from the other way. She's across the line. He pulls in. He dents the front of his car on the side of the mountain here. And as she goes by, she rolls down her window and she goes, pig, pig. He rolls down his window and he goes, cow. and he pulls around the corner and runs into a pig. Always wonder how far she drove looking for a cow. What's the point? What's the point? I think the American Band College, in all of the things that it does, there's a lot of times there has to be that trust there. That trust that when they yell something, it's just around the next corner, heeded. Because instead of pushing back against it, we need to go with it. In the band directing world, there's different levels. There's people who go be band directors. They go into school each day, they turn the page, they teach the kids the notes, and they go home at night. And that goes on for a number of years. Then above that, there's people we call intellectuals who go to graduate school, who learn a bunch of stuff. And they take all of this new information down and they're into the tech stuff and they're finding everything they possibly can do to make that band better, the intellectuals. Then there's a group above that. And these are the people that understand the reason to have all that intellectualism is to create an art, is to be able to bypass the mind with a sense of music that affects the soul immediately. That's not a lot of people. But you were around a lot of people this week that were that way. Where you can see, yeah, they can do all the technical stuff, and yeah, they've got all those skills down, but they take it to another level. What is it they say? We're only worth what we give away. And they keep giving it away and making a difference, and people feel something. And when the band plays, there's somebody in the crowd that weeps because it's so beautiful, they cannot not weep. And then above that, there's a very narrow group of people called leaders. And these are the people that understand that everything they do makes a difference. Whether they smile or don't smile. Whether they say hello or don't say hello. Whether they're so into themselves they can't get out of themselves. And quite frankly, I think that's what the American Band College does. I think it goes way beyond that second level to take wisdom and turn it into relevancy in life. And that's what you do. You know, you have to ask yourself this question somewhere along the way. Why? Why do I do this, right? Why do every day I go in and put my ears in a blender and just turn it on puree for a while? When I was first chair in my college wind ensemble or whatever. And I think sometimes we forget why those young people come in here and do it. Why they come in there and do it. For those of you who are drum corps fans, there was a group several years ago called the Star of Indiana. Do you remember them? Okay, the Star of Indiana turned into a group called Brass Theater. Brass Theater morphed into a group called Blast. Absolutely. Several years ago I was down there and they were doing things with the Canadian brass and so forth. And it was a big deal. I mean, in fact, it still is a big deal. And so I was down there, we were doing a videotape thing together, and the Canadian brass were there, and it was going to be a promo tape and all this sort of thing. So when we finished, this is strange because the home of the Brass Theater and Blast is Bloomington, Indiana, which, as you know, is the largest school of music in the world. And they cut their elementary music program in the town. I mean, how could this be? So anyway, a lot of the kids that were part of that group decided to get together, and if parents would throw in $40 or whatever, they would teach the beginners since they'd taken out the beginning program. Well, I mean, parents were standing in line. And then all these kids from IU would go teach the youngers. Okay? So we finished with our little video thing, and Jim Mason, the head of the whole thing, said, Tim, he said, we've got the beginners today, the fourth graders, and he said, we're using essential elements, and he said, do you have any idea what it would mean to those kids if you would go over and sign a couple books? Would you do that? And I said, are you kidding? Well, of course, you know, boy, that's an ego pet, isn't it, right? So he says to the Canadian brass, and you guys are on the same flight Tim's on, you know, for the kids to meet a group. And those guys are great. They go, sure. So on the way, I bought a new Sharpie so I could put the road and I sign those things. So we go into this gymnasium, which is even more of an oxymoron, right? Here's 200 of these young people, fourth graders, in there just blowing their brains out. It is a cacophony of sound. It's the worst thing you ever heard in your life, right? So we go in, and Jim gets up and he goes, okay, boys and girls, put your horns down. And there was that feeling of, no, we don't want to. But they put their horns down. He goes, hey, turn your books back to the first page and put your finger on that name. So they go through the process. He goes, boys and girls, you're not going to believe this. He said, you're not going to believe this. But he said, that name is that man. He said, how many of you boys and girls would like to have Dr. Tim sign your book? Not one kid put a hand up. I'm sure it's not one. And I'm there with Sharpie in hand, ready to go, right? So the guys from Canadian Brass are like, beat me up. He said, maybe we'll do that afterwards. He kind of brushed it off. He goes, boys and girls, you're not going to believe this. He said, we have some people here who are professional musicians, and he said, we know you've heard of, how many boys and girls have ever heard of the Canadian brass? Not one kid put a hand up. So I'm like, hey, there you go. And he said, well, maybe you would like to play for these people. Oh my gosh, the room lights up. It lights up, and horns are coming up, and reeds are flying, and slides are going off trombones, and kids are getting back in their chairs, and it's just really exciting, right? So I went back, and there was the euphonium section came around here, and there was an empty chair, and then it started the back of the trombone section, and I mean, there's like 41 of these trombones, right? So I set the empty chair, and here's this little kid with a pea shooter trombone sitting here, and then the next kid over is a kid from IU, and he's got a bass trombone with a trigger and a Starbucks, and it's getting Wi-Fi, and I mean, it's, you can't play it out of tune because it's got so many stuff on it. Behind him is standing Gene, the trombone player from the Canadian Brass. He's got his hands on the kid's shoulders from IU. So we're going to play for their guest, right? Oh my God, there's spits flying everywhere, cork grease is all over, this is the moment, right? So they're playing like Go Tell Aunt Rhody or something like this, Hot Cross Buns. Why would anybody name a song Hot Cross Buns? Anyway, so they're playing, and I'm watching this little trombone player beside me, and out goes the slide, the finger goes out with it, right? He nicks the edge of that bell, third position, and the kid from IU triggers it and plays it in long 5, short 6. He plays all in position. And you should watch this little boy. Because hit went out, and that other slide went down, and that kid went. So they play it again, third position, long 5, short 6 trigger. And this little boy goes. The third time it happened, he took his pencil and he went 3. IU started trying to say something. Gene just put his hand over his mouth. He said, play it 3, play it 3, play it 3. And you know what? It was one of those aha moments when I went, they want to play their horns. They didn't care who was there. They didn't care if it was the guy that wrote the book. They didn't care if it was the people that played their instruments better than anybody in the whole world. They wanted to play their horns. And I just went, Tim, all this other stuff you do, back off. Nobody can put that down in words. Just to know the people and families that are here with your young ones, and all of a sudden that mind is marked with that beautiful, beautiful song. To think that somebody would be presumptuous enough to go, let's start a graduate program just for band directors. Just for band directors. Nobody else. And guess what? Let's find the most remote place in the nation. Let's go way out to the edge to a border. Does it have an airport? No. And let's put them in dorms across from a tavern. There for like 2 weeks. And we'll have a tag team of incredible people just hit one jawbreaker after another. And after they do that, they'll go home and their programs will be better and more kids will make music.
And as soon as you get there, go to work. And time is up, stop. Okay, now, one of the things you'll figure out, by the way, when you sat down, did you wait for Tim to manipulate you, or did you pull yourself up? Because, you know what, this is the truth, and the veterans in here know it. I can manipulate you, that's easy. In this room, if I had you in this room all day long, I could have you walking on the ceilings upside down. I'm never concerned about the puppet when I have its strings. Because if nothing else, I'll use fear motivation to get it out of you. How many of you ever had fear motivation used on you? Yeah, it's in schools, it's called tests. Does it work, yes or no? Sure it does. You know what it's called in band? Auditions. How many of you work harder the day before the audition? How many of you in your own bands, the day before the concert, everybody kind of gets a little more serious? I know, and that's so silly, because then we're waiting for somebody to threaten us. Haven't your parents ever threatened you? If you don't do this, you're going to get grounded? You don't want to do it, you just don't want to get grounded. And I'm looking for the person that we don't have to take the puppet strings and yank them up, because we can always do that. Because my fear is this, that when you walk out the door, the puppet goes, boom, and just waits for somebody else to pull its strings. And you know what? It could be somebody who's sarcastic, cynical, alcohol, drugs. It could be 1,000 things. Don't you get it? Don't you I'm sorry, I don't want to get on my soapbox here. Do you know what makes band what it is? Oh, it's all this stuff. We can teach you this stuff. This stuff is easy. You can get a chimpanzee to do that to get enough time. You can wire the brain of any creature and to get them to do things out of habit. What makes you special is the stuff between the notes. We can get anybody to push the buttons down. It's the stuff between the notes that makes band band. How many of you just hang out in your band room? Anybody do that? That's what makes us special. How many, when you go to school in the morning, hang out in the band? That's where you start up. Meet all your friends in the band room. How many are ever going to pass, get out of class, go hang out in the band room? How many have ever cut a class here in the band room? There you go. Those are my people. How many of you after school meet your friends in the band room? How many of your social friends are in the band with you? How many of you have jackets and t-shirts and hats with your band logo on? You don't think you're a cult? How many of you ever dated a band person? Yeah, this isn't a little close, isn't it? Band directors want you to, because you get married and make more band people, and that's what we're excited about. Right? You guys are good. Got 20 seconds to meet the people around you. Now you take care of the 20 seconds. Find out who they are. Go.
Is this Tim's touring service?
This is it. Do whatever you can to make a living. Let's go back. Let's back it up to that double bar. Before we start the swing. Got it? Is that boy? Boy. B. 1, 2, ready. Ah. Come on. What you got? I feel like you go out and you do the crescendo, but then you don't stay there at the end. That's gotta be real novelty. Okay, one more time. 3, 2, ready. You're there. How was that decrescendo at the beginning? Yeah, you're deaf. Here we go. It was horrible. Yay! 2, ready. Ah. That's cool. How many have people in your bands at home that every time the director says something, this kid has to make a comment about it? You know, don't go to sort of. Play it out. It's just like one day, here comes the note. You know, Bob has passed away. So that's why in the programs it's dedicated to him. And there has to be a reverence about that. Because, you know, he's smiling down. He'd want to be here more than anybody else. So lots of special things happen. And the first time I met Scott McKee, he was running around playing in a high school band. And I watched him grow and develop. And Scott, I had printed out that email you sent me a few years ago that was so kind and so giving. And to watch the baton pass to somebody else who you know is not going to let it slip and is going to take it where it is and take it to the next level is great. So when he launches as the new managing director of WIBC, that's going to be one of the scariest things in the world to say, we're putting Jordan on the bench, you take his spot. Whoever that is, those are big shoes to fill. And he's already pushing the ends to the toes. Let's thank Scott and Katie. Because in 2003, the 25th anniversary, we'll have 600 plus incredible people in this room. And I said, when they close their eyes and think of the people who changed their life so band would be special, they'll see you. And they went, oh, Tim, you're so melodramatic. But you just saw them. And you know what's even crazier than that? Another year will come by, and there'll be another group in here. And they will stand on your shoulders. Veterans, they will take what you did and take it to the next level, which you did so magnificently last night. And at the end of my short time with them, I'll say, how many of you think your group's not as good as it could be or should be? And they'll put up their hands. And I'll tell them to close their eyes and think of the people who made band special for them. And they'll close their eyes and they'll get real quiet, just like you just did. And they'll see you. See, this is maybe not about what's in it for me, but this is maybe about what I can give to it. And for those directors who are up there doing that clinic right now, and a bunch of them standing around here, for heaven's sakes, when you get in the hallway and walk by them, grab their arm and just say thank you. Thank you for being the teacher that when everybody else goes away, you're always there for me. So this is not the end of our little prep session. This is really the beginning of it. And I know Scott has a couple announcements as you go out of here. I love being with you. I can't wait to see you in the halls. God bless you. Thank you so much. And to the veterans in this room, you know the traditions. You know what to do at the end of a rehearsal. You know that for the most part, we're on our feet thanking those people. Let me go this side. Could we have done what we did for the last 45 minutes if this group had not cooperated? No. No, I'll give you 5 seconds to acknowledge you. Go. 5. Yeah, thank you, brother. Now here's what happened. You guys came in here on the scale, and they went, nothing. They came in here. Now, doesn't this go through your mind? If we had another chance. There's no second chance in first impression, right? I'll give you one more chance to acknowledge him. Go. 5. Now, they just gouged the meter up a little bit more. Now, over here, you know what they're going to say. The truly creative people are going like, I want to make something out of myself. I just don't want to coast on the thermals of life. They go, Tim, you gave them a second chance. You gave them a second. Now, you can see some of them. I'll give you one more chance. Go. 5. Now, aren't you thinking, wait, we could do this. We could actually, we could stand on the chair. Then I go back over here, and they say, wait, we could hoist the person. That's it. Wait, we'll make a human pyramid. Wait, we'll put dynamite in your back. Don't wait to compete to be good. That's so stupid. Now, in that little exercise, when I was your age, you know what I would have done? I wouldn't have stood. I wouldn't have participated. I would have rolled my eyes and protected myself
because I would have thought if I ever let anybody know how bad I am, they'll all make fun of me. Everybody makes fun of everybody. Oh, come on. We are so sarcastic. And if there's anything else, if there's just nothing we can get through this weekend, can you please suspend all that for just a little bit? You know that old thing that they used to say in the first grade? You can't say something nice about somebody? Don't say no. Good. Is that what? For just a second, I'd like you to close your eyes. And I'd like you to think of the person when you first walked into your band that you kind of looked at as a role model. May not have been the most popular person. It was just the person that you said, you know what? I don't be like that person. And you mimicked them, and you followed them, and you kind of watched their habits, and you adapted your habits to them, and you went, yeah, that's cool. See that person's face. Good, would you open your eyes? How many can pick somebody out? Oh yeah, I mean, it's real easy to do. How many for you as the person that you just spotted in your eyes? Graduated, they're gone. Maybe that's why the band's not as good as it could be or should be or you wish it would be. Now, I will tell you, some of those people you saw were here last year, the year before, the year before, the year before, the year before. And I always ask the same question at the end. How many of you wish your band was better? And everybody always puts up their hands. And I told the group last year and the year before, I said, don't you understand that in 2004, there will be a new crop of people here. And when those people look at who made bands special for them, because they gave everything they got, when they close their eyes and see the person, said, don't you understand they'll see you? And they always look at me like, oh, you're so weird. But you just saw them, didn't you? You just saw them. They don't know. Do you think they knew that you were looking at them? Oh, come on. They were paddling through the day just like you are. They were doing the best they knew how to survive school. Now they're at college, and they still don't know you were looking at them. You know what's even worse? There'll be a new group in here next year. And at the end, I'll say, how many think your group's not as good as it could be, or should be, or you wish it would be? And those people hold up their hand. I'll say, you know, why don't you close your eyes and think of the person that made it special for you in band. And some little girl's going to see you. And you, and some young man will see you, and you, and you. And when those kids in the future close their eyes and go, who made band special? Who are the ones that always got to do the honor bands and stuff and came home and were so excited and had all new ideas? Who was that person? They're going to see you. And it's a huge responsibility to dump on your shoulders. But that's what you get for being part of an honor band. When you are good enough to be in an honor group, it gives you the right to work harder. It gives you the right to sparkle up a little bit. It gives you the right to put a smile on your face. And it gives you the right to push yourself as high as you can. The last thing you have to do is start out this whole thing with me. I mean, it is such an honor to get to stand in front of people like you who care and share. Now, take that, downshift it, and give it all for the rest of the week. I'll give you back to Scott. Thanks for a good morning. God bless.
Come on, reach as high as you can. You're smart. Come on, reach as high as you can. Okay, reach as high as you can. Come on, get up here. Okay, get down, right? Now what happens is this. Everybody goes chomp, then we go chomp, then I'm screaming like any music teacher, come on, you can do better, you can do better. You're like, leave me alone. And then somebody stands up, and then other people stand up. It's called breaking through the comfort zone. And then some people were actually starting to get on chairs. And if I'd have kept popping you, we'd have hoisted a human being by now. Then we'd have built a human pyramid and had some of them up there in the rafters. That's what every conductor's going to ask you to do. They're going to ask you to reach as high as you can. above that, there's even another group. And that's who I'm looking for in here. That says everything that we do makes a difference. And we're looking in here for those leaders that are the people that know when you walk down the hall and you see some of the people that are running this organization, you say thank you. That when you go in the bathroom and there's stuff on the floor, you don't go, idiots, but you pick it up and throw it away. That's a very few group of people because it takes tremendous maturity to do that. But that's what makes WIBC, WIBC. And the directors who, oh God, they got them from all over the world, my Lord. I mean, if a bomb hits this place, we're going to set back music education, the band world, about 100 years. Because these are killer people, right? Where's my veterans in here? Been here before? Veterans, is this not true? You blink your eyes and it's Monday, right? Yes. And all of a sudden, we're playing You'll Never Walk Alone, which even the cynics kind of make fun of. And all of a sudden, You'll Never Walk Alone that you played for 2 or 3 years in here that was like, oh, do we have to do this? As a senior, you're going, oh my Lord, this made a difference in my life. This changed the way I think. This is what is going to catapult me into the college career and make a success out of myself. In 1 minute, I want you sitting between 2 people you didn't know before you walked in this room and total silence. You have 1 minute. Go. I want you to take 20 seconds and I want you to meet the people around you as though your life depended on it. Find out who they are. Go. Here's my point, and I was just with some of you a few weeks ago. Here's my point. The 20 seconds went by and we just kept talking. I mean, it's fantastic. And the adults standing in this room would tell you, if I asked a faculty to stand up and mix and sit beside people that they didn't know well in their faculty, they would not do it. So you're already way ahead of the game. And if I had said, when you have 20 seconds to meet people, check your eyes right now. Do you have to look up to see me? Because if you do, there's a focus problem. You're putting I, me ahead of we, us. And the best part about Western International Band Clinic is the we, us part. I mean, it truly is a family. And literally, the McKee family has made a family event out of creating a bigger family. How many of you ever at home sat through a rehearsal and spent more time on discipline and that sort of thing than you did making music? What a waste of time. Thank you. How many of you ever watched the director go nuts because there wasn't enough rehearsal time? How many of you juniors and seniors have ever stood behind stage just before a concert and this went through your mind? We should have practiced harder. Now's the time. Any of you ever walk off the stage after the concert and go, dang it! I know we can do better! You know. You have to go, it was just fine. You're deaf, lady. Right? So, like that. So let's see how good you really are. Take your hands, put them like this, please. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, clap. When I say clap, clap your hands. Ready? 1, 2, 3. No, I didn't say clap. You're always supposed to clap when I say clap. That's it. Somebody got the first one. That's pretty unusual. When the word clap comes up, that's when you should clap. I have to say clap every time. And what are you doing? When I say clap, you would clap. If I went like clap, 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 you'd clap. Oh, it's funny. If I said class, that's class. You wouldn't clap if I said class. Now, in there, part of your mind goes, I'm not going to play anymore. Stupid fat bald man. Watch out for clap. Because what it does, it's the metaphor for what's going to be asked of you in rehearsals with the different conductors. Some will say clap, some will say class, and you'll try to clap when they say class. And that right goes, I'm going home, man. This sort of thing's over with like that. Let me see how good you really are. Would you put both feet flat on the floor for me, please? Thank you so much. Would you sit up taller in the chairs a little bit? Thank you so much. Sounds like beginning band, doesn't it? Right? Would you pull off to the front of the chair just a little bit? Oh, you guys are great. God, I love it when you do that. Would you sit up real nice? Lift that chin up just a little bit. Okay, look around the room. Can you imagine walking in and seeing the whole group sitting like this? Wouldn't you go, is this a drug rehab program? I got here by error. Take that right hand, reach as high as you can, please. Thank you so much. Now would you reach 1 inch higher? Good, put your hands down. How'd you do that? That's what every conductor's going to ask you to do. They're going to ask you to reach as high as you can. when I say push, would you push them together as hard as you can? Ready, go push. Really hard. Look around how stupid it was. Who are you pushing against? Yourself. Where are you going? Nowhere. That's pretty good. What are you wasting? Time. And? Energy. Going? Nowhere. It's like you can read mine. So I will finish my sentences, you'll finish them for me. You won't have a good time. You'll have lots of fun. Okay, this is going to be so easy. Now, how come you can do that and I can't do it with other groups? Because music people think different than other people do. And that's what you want. You want to go out of here Monday not going, I'm glad that's over with. You want to go out and like, milk it for all it's worth. It would be, don't pay your money and not get your money's worth. That's done. That's like going in a store, buying 12 DVDs, paying for them, and then only taking 6 out of the store. Going, I fooled you. No. You should have bargained for 14. So, will people make fun of us? Sure. Come on, so let's be honest about this. And it's always their insecurities. When anybody puts somebody else in my down, that's always their insecurities. So if your first chair, when it says accent, you accent. The next chair down, accents. The next chair down, accent. The next chair down, accent. The next chair down goes, where's my music? The next chair down goes, what class are we in? So that's a pretty fast diminuendo from excellence down to where most people are. Take that right hand, reach as high as you can, please. Thank you so much. Now would you reach 1 inch higher? Good, put your hands down. How'd you do that? That's what every conductor is going to ask you to do. They're going to ask you to reach as high as you can. Where's my seniors in here again? Yeah, the seniors will tell you, you know, those freshman, sophomore, junior years at the end when we played You'll Never Walk Alone, and you see all the arrogant, you know, people rolling their eyes like, oh, how corny is this? And you look around the seniors that are crying, because they know it's their last shot. And maybe that doesn't happen until you get to be a senior, where that hindsight, you look back and you have more a developed brain that says, this meant something to me. This helped make my life better. And because of this, I know I can reach higher, and I'll do better in everything else. It's all one. There's a reason they call it band. It goes all the way around. Now, we need to practice here a little bit. I look at these people, I stand over there and see Mr. McKee, and think about the first time that this is rhetoric to you, but stick with me because it's got to pay off. The first time the WIBC happened, and I think there's like 71 people there. There was no student bands like you. There was none of this stuff. And just out of sheer guts, persistence, I will not give up. Max McKee involves his whole family and gets this thing to the point now where there are people who didn't get in here because they weren't of the quality of playing ability that you are. Would you please help me thank him for making sure. Pretty soon you hear a tromp upstairs, open the door. John! Get up! Get up! I don't want to get up. You have to get up! You've got school today! I hate school. You're a high honor student! I cheat. There you are, Mom. Sweetheart, you've got band today! I really hate band. I lie, too. I lie and I cheat. There you go, Mom. I got the whole thing right there. Sweetheart, why don't you want to go to school? Why don't you want to go to band? Well, there's 85 people in there, and they laugh at me. They make fun of me. They point at me. They diss me behind my back. They tease me all the time. They talk about me in the hallways. Mom, why do I have to go to school? Sweetheart, there's 2 reasons. You're 36 years old and you're the band director. Now, you want to get out.
And, you know, they're never going to play at a convention, I don't think. I don't think he's interested in doing that kind of stuff. But out of a school about 300, he's got like 214 in the band or something. I mean, he's just nuts. It's just band all the time. He sent me this letter a couple years ago. He said, I just had to relate this story to someone. I have a student named Eric. Have you ever heard this? He's in the 5th grade. He's special ed. He has MS and a couple other complications from MS. His sisters are in the band. They're in the 7th and 8th grade band. All Eric could ever do was talk about joining my band. He sees me in church on Wednesdays and Sundays, and he always asks, when can I be in your band? So I started him early this year, and I teach him privately. I placed him on trombone. I have to enlarge his music so he can see it. He's been taking 2 or 3 lessons a week from me for several months as I get him ready for the entry-level band. The trombone is well suited for his conditions. As I teach my band classes, I always tease my kids and say, now when you guys become rich and famous from playing your instrument, you have to give me 10%. They always laugh. They know I'm kidding. Last Sunday, Eric played a concert for his grandparents and the preacher, using his Essential Elements books and his accompaniment tracks. He must have done well. His audience gave him $10. Yesterday, he came to his lesson and gave me $1. And he said, thank you, Mr. Norman. I couldn't have done this without you. You are the only teacher who believes in me. I cried like a baby. It's my best teaching dollar I have ever earned. Tell me you have booster groups. Aren't they nuts? Just came from Grand National, Bands American Grand National. Semis pulling up. Dads rolling props over each other's foot. Just excited. I apologize if you're at ABC, but this is one of the best band parent stories that has happened in my life. They do that Bands American thing and they drag the band to the field. That's my job. You know, come on, get on here. Dad, you take this here and we get you all set and down. 5, 4, 3, bingo! That's it, right? So this one dad comes on, he's out of control. I think I was telling this to your parents. He was out of control and he's got a timpani and he's just running aimlessly around the field. And I'm like, guys, stop him. Somebody stop him. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. I'm like, God, help me, help me. And I said, here, right over here. Here, sit right there. You okay? Yeah, I'm not on a line or anything. No. I said, where'd your son play? Oh, he's a percussionist. I said, well, you come back here and you stand and watch your son. You're going to do this. This is going to be great. You okay? I'm okay. So I run over to the band director, Stan Malden. And Stan says, do you have any idea who that was? And I said, yeah, it's a band dad that doesn't know what he's doing. He said, that's Lieutenant Colonel Lindsay. Anybody listen to the last shuttle went up, he was the captain. He's an astronaut. Get where to put the timpani stand. Get him a $2 billion airplane to fly around. Music success. Music success, academic success, life success. 90%, it's 90% plus of band kids go to college and graduate with an undergraduate degree. That's the highest of anybody in school. Guess what? They go to class, you taught them to do that. They show up on time. They do their work. Wouldn't you say that'll get you through college? You can just do those 3 things? That's right. 52% of the kids flunk out of college for one reason. They don't go to class. What do band kids do? Christmas, we've got a rehearsal, let's go. They don't look back. To change their life. Out of that 90%, 70% will get a master's degree. Out of that 70%, 40% will get a terminal degree. A law degree, an architectural degree, a doctor, they'll be a doctor. They will go to the top of their profession. Guess what? You. And guess what? They still make music. And they have kids who join. So when we get back and we go, I don't know if I'm doing anything, and our leadership starts to give up, they give up right with us instead of saying, no, I'm making a difference. And please understand, I'm not talking about the people who have 9 kids going to Interlochen and 14 in Allstate. God bless you that do that. But you know, it's those people who just say, get in here. Here, put that horn in your mouth. Here! The smalling. There you go. Shut up. When I point to you, play. All right. Great students. Great people. Great teachers. Great humans. Have the ability, this is going to sound so silly when I say it, to create what isn't. They go into a situation where there isn't something and they create it. I'm always teasing Max. What, was this 27 this year, Max?
28.
28. We did 27 last year. Number 28. 28 years ago, he sat in his living room and said, let's create something that isn't. We'll call it Western International Band Clinic. Now, I mean, that just was out there somewhere. Look at people who have the ability to create what isn't. Look at great quarterbacks who can put the ball where it isn't. Look at some of you who go into a program where there isn't something, and in 2 years there is something. Right? How does that happen? Did we get there just as it got good? Right? Did you just have to show up at the right time? No. It's that sense of we will build it. You know, Dixie, I'm picking on you, and all because I love you. Wherever she goes, people are going to play oboes. Animals, rocks. She just won't give up. Man, I've seen her get people who are cynical about oboes playing, you know, the victors and going, this is so cool. Because she wouldn't give up. Persistence alone is omnipotent. Charlie McGee's the president of Vanderbilt College of Music, former student, a great trumpet player. I mean, literally incredible. Should have been a professional trumpet player. And when he was in the band, I would solo him all the time. Oh, the fattest, richest sound you've ever heard. And his parents, who loved Charlie, Charlie could do no wrong, would come. I mean, they'd fly to Missouri to watch this kid play. He was so good. We did this bit with the show band, and I'd have somebody in the crowd pick out a tune. What do you want to hear? And I'd plan, you know. So I would tell Dave, I'd say, ask for Strangers in the Night. So Dave, he goes, Strangers in the Night, Strangers in the Night. Let me see if the band knows it. You know it? And they're like, well, we'll do the best we can do. And then Dave would yell, Tim, you play a solo on trumpet. Well, I'm a drummer, but whatever. And one of the kids passed up a trumpet. Charlie would crawl down behind the saxes and hide down there. And I'd stand right in front, and I would finger the part, and he'd play. So we did this one night, his parents were there. And Charlie came in the next morning, he goes, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? He said, afterwards, my dad said, you know, Tim should have had you play the solo, Charlie. He said, you sound a lot better than he does. Heard what he wanted.
Niceties aside, how did you do it? How does somebody that's blind do something that most people can't do with 20/20 vision? How did you get to the top of Mount Everest? He looked at me and goes, oh, it's simple. Simple, you idiot? What are you talking about? Simple. There's people who've tried this their life, lost their lives. They spend $90,000 just to get to base camp, and you said it's simple. I said, how'd you do it? He just said, I just kept putting one foot in front of the other. Well, I said, weren't you scared how far you could fall? He goes, I couldn't see. He said, I probably shouldn't tell you this, Tim, but he said, when we got to the top, I wasn't aware we were at the top. He said, I was getting ready to take another step. He said, all his buddies are there going, we made it! Look! Isn't it beautiful? Looked the same to me. What's the point? This will be a great weekend if you keep taking one step in front of the other. Now, you have a chance to put a thumbprint in people's lives. You have a chance, and what makes living is that the people, I mean, we're talking about this 20% actively engaged people. Make a point to go up to those conductors and say thank you. Make a point to get to the staff and say thank you. And instead of going, I'm sorry, I didn't get me, and that's not fair to me, and well, I don't see why they turn around the other way and go, here, what can we do to help? What can we do to help you? And this is what it's going to be, musically and everything else.
1, 2, ready, yeah! I go into the Pittsburgh airport, and I go in and try to use one of those kiosk things, you know, and I'm like, that thing doesn't work. And there's this, now please don't be offended, this is just what was happening. There is an Afro-American lady sitting behind the U.S. Airways counter that was pressing 400 pounds. And she's sitting there, and I'm trying, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey, sugar." Look up, she's going, "You, sugar, come in." Come in. I walked over, she goes, "You can't get that dang thing to work, can you?" There's a sack of Oreo cookies there. There's just Oreo dust all over. And I said, "No." She goes, "I hate those damn things." She goes, "Let's go put us out of business." She goes, "Give me your license, I'll do it for you." Great. She takes it, she goes, "All right, Lautzenheiser." I said, "That's pretty good." She goes, "What?" I said, "Lautzenheiser." I said, "You just rip that off." I said, "Most people fall in that name." She goes, "It's easy, it's my maiden name." She goes, yeah, my daddy was Lautzenheiser. Jesus, who's crossed over, you know? She goes, "You have to be from the Lautzenheisers in Indiana, do you?" I said, "I am." She goes, "Well, that's something." She goes, "Hey, you don't have to be from the ones around Fort Wayne, do you?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, let me ask you this." She said, "You don't have to be from the Lautzenheisers in Bluffton, Indiana, do you?" I said, "That's my home." She said, "Oh my gosh." She said, "You don't know George Lautzenheiser." And I said, "George Jr. was my father. George Sr. was my grandfather." She goes, "Well, let me tell you something." She goes, "Your granddaddy and my granddaddy are half brothers." I said, "Grandpa Lautzenheiser never said he had a half brother." She goes, "Well, now, sugar," she said, "people didn't talk about those things." No.
Wow.
Pretty soon she looked up and she goes, "Are you buying this?" "Oh, God, yes." I said, "You want a cookie?" "Yeah, hell, I'll take it." She said, "I got your whole profile here. I'm just making up a story. Isn't that cute?" My heart starts kicking. She said, "We don't have enough humor in the world, do we?" I said, "No." She said, "I could tell you had a bad day." I said, "It was just stressful." She goes, "Well, there's your ticket. You have a good time, sure. You want another cookie on the way?" No, I'm fine." So I get up to the gate, and you're sitting there, pretty soon they're like, "Tom Larryhammer." Oh, that's me. The guy says, "You must know somebody special at U.S. Air." And I said, "No." He goes, "Yeah, you do, because he said your cousin just upgraded you." What's this got to do with anything? And that lady just diffused it. And I went, God, this should have been a good band director.
That's more notes than most of them play in a whole semester. Wow. Congratulations to you. Let me say a couple things first of all, on behalf of the board of directors and all the guest conductors and that incredible staff. Thank you. Thanks for sharing the most precious gift you have in your life, your children. And just, this needs to be said. It's incredible that the media can find one or two young people that do something wrong, and somehow that seems to set the standard. We had 650 here who did it exactly right, and those are the leaders of tomorrow.